again with another session in the OpenAI.net, sessions where we get to show the world how we develop an end-to-end standardized pair program test-driven library for the .NET community that allows people to kind of build, AI-powered systems. Of course, leveraging ChatGPT, OpenAI underneath for the time being. But there will be a lot more development as we move forward with this implementation and we learn more about how these systems operate and all that good stuff. Before I get started, have you guys heard about this Google scientist, chief AI dude that quit his job? And it was a little interesting. I was kind of there's a lot of fuss in the news about Google AI chief something head of research. I think I saw this guy. They're calling him the godfather of AI. And I don't know what people just call people whatever they want to call them, but not that there's a particular criteria or anything. But he basically just decided to quit. He doesn't like where, the direction is going. And then Woz now is talking about AI. There's a lot of conversation in the industry about what's happening in terms of because once that like Elon Musk was saying, once that genie's out of the bottle, you can't control it, right? Anybody could spin up a server and host. There's a lot of these open source a large language models that people can host locally, which is a stage that we need to get to at some point in time. And I think it's probably, since we say this is, um, the standard is a coalition of good-hearted engineers. There will be a point in time where we have to play a role into making sure that we provide people the tools that doesn't just allow them to leverage AI, but maybe protect them from AI. Maybe there's a point in time where people need to be able to kind of look into, for instance, one of the very basic examples that we have today and something that comes, off the top real quick is how professors now are complaining that, students are using ChatGPT to, instead of actually understanding the topic, they're submitting their, homework or their essays, with a generated ChatGPT that they can't really even tell whether it's generated or not. What's funny is that OpenAI themselves are offering tools to tell you whether a particular text was generated with AI or not. But it's going to keep getting better and better to the point where it's like a Turing test, right? It will be indistinguishable from reality, indistinguishable from something that's generated by or written or authored by a person, by a real person in real life. And then what happens then, right? How can you actually tell, right? Other than, if there's this factory somewhere in Texas that's creating a lifelike skin tissue of robots and feed ChatGPT into that, and now you got yourself what I call a mecha. A mecha is like a human-like droid, that is indistinguishable, from a real human being. If any of you remember, there was this movie called AI. It's just called AI from a long, long time ago, and it was about this lady that had a sick son, so she had to go and basically buy a robot that's basically a child. It always thinks like a child. It's a really gut-wrenching movie. It's a very sad, dramatic movie in ways you wouldn't imagine. But looking at what's happening now, it's very possible. It's very, very possible. Um, I think I think we're on the edge of something that will fundamentally change the world the way the internet did, maybe even bigger, right? The way electricity did, maybe even bigger, right? And getting ahead of that curve and having a community of people that um, really have the best intents, in mind and in hearts, working out in the open. We're not hiding anything. We're not, baking anything, a backdoor or anything in the systems that we build should guarantee people that where are we headed and why are we offering these tools and whatnot. So just to give people kind of a long-term vision, what's actually going to happen and where is this long, long seasons. By the way, this is This is session 31. Can you believe it, Brian? 31 sessions. What
Hmm.
happened? It was just like yesterday when I told you, hey, do you want to do a quick session? That didn't turn out to be very quick, did it?
No, not at all. But, so going back to what you were just saying, I think this genie's been out of the bottle for a long time, and but it's just now the public's become very aware of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think you and I know, and other engineers know that this OpenAI stuff's been around for quite some time.
Yep.
It's just, yeah. So I think the fear campaign at the moment is something a bit more of a campaign rather than something that's valid. So.
It's mostly a campaign, that's right. And seeing a lot of, tech figures in the tech industry that are kind of raising the alarm. It's when did it ever work that you tell people not to do something and they were like, "Oh, okay, thank you for letting me know." No, never gonna happen, right? What is actually effective more than words is actions. Can you actually develop counter tools that can actually limit the dangers of AI? It's like creating a knife. You can cut an apple with it, okay, kill someone with it. What are you gonna do with that knife, right? So the point here is to put the measures in place, and the more and more the knowledge about AI is public, the more and more people know how to use it, how to work with it, the more likely people will be able to be aware of it and be aware of its dangers. And the most critical and dangerous thing about AI today is that it can spit complete fallacious statements, and it sounds so real. So it kind of amplified one of the biggest challenges that are facing humanity these days, which is misinformation. Misinformation makes people crazy, right? It makes them operate based on fallacious information and false data that can cause harm, right? How many times there was this crazy guy that happened like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, that went to a pizza shop thinking that I don't know what they're doing to kids underground, in a pizza shop, and he showed up with a gun, you
Yep.
know, like what is happening, right? So if you imagine, and if you look at the ads and the people that spit out these things, you can tell easily like it's fallacious, but someone with a simple mind could actually follow it. Now imagine if the content is very, very top level content generated by an AI. It can it can constitute a huge danger, to our survival, evolution, and fulfillment, which is what this is all about. Everything what I'm doing here is meant to go towards the survival, evolution, and fulfillment of mankind. So there will be forces that are going in different directions in that regard, and we will sit and learn, and we will keep building a system. The beautiful thing about these sessions is that we're building software, but also at the same time we're keeping up to date about what's happening. So this is what it's like to work on a cutting edge, bleeding edge project while you're staying up to date with these folks. By the way, also one more thing for the community. I really tried. I tried to reach out to the OpenAI folks. It's very hard to reach to them, understandably so, because probably 50 million people are sending them messages every day and stuff. I tried to reach out to them so they can list our library as a utility. Because if you look into the documentation here, if you look into, let's see here, if you look into libraries, which is libraries right here, you'll see a lot of libraries, and there is, people are adding more and more stuff, in here. So I am hoping that the standard community work will hopefully get up to that point. Okay, some of these libraries are very interesting, and I want people to kind of also, I want us to list our work here as well so people can benefit from standard compliant, truly test-driven systems. Okay. Not that there's anything wrong with what exists today. We just don't think that it's standard compliant. We think that it has some issues, in terms of what it's like putting a for each loop inside of a test. That's interesting. So anyway, okay, with that being said, let's look at the state of the unicorn here. The state of things. What are things looking like? Um, uh, let's see here. Let's see here. So there is an open, I think Caitlin or Catalin, he opened up, he created a pull request. We have a one open pull request for transcripting audio files, right? And I think I left all the comments. This is how I know things are also really, really test driven and not generated, is that you see the fail pass. So the person that's writing the test actually took the time to run it and all that kind of stuff. So that's great. I love that. I do love GitHub. I think it's a very important tool, and now it has even more power. So it's going to help us a lot. So I went through this PR. I think it's in good shape. I think what's really missing in here is just to register the service. So I'm just going to leave a comment in here. I'm just going to say just register service. Okay, so this is the one thing that we have here. Please register the service. Okay, all right, that part. Okay, now where are we in terms of development? What we really started, and this is the title of this session, fine-tuning models, right? This is why we did this whole file upload, thing, just to bring people up to speed into what I'm talking about here, because this is important. What we're trying to do, or how OpenAI RESTful API endpoint works really, is like this. You have a file, you have a model that you want to fine tune, just to bring people back to how the system works, so they understand. The OpenAI folks, they basically went and gathered some data, just really raw data. So that's your data. And then they went and put some brains into it, right? So they put some intelligence into it. That's the algorithm, right? So they basically went and said, put that data through that algorithm. Let me fix that. There you go. So here's an algorithm, right? And then this algorithm produced what we call a model. That's what you hear in the news when you hear people say GPT-3, GPT-4, GPT-5. That's what this is. It's a learning model. It's a learning pattern. And this model is what's actually taking your information and, based on it, it processes that information. It knows how to map that data. It's basically a mapping of the data. And then there's some things in there that even we don't understand yet how it works underneath. Now, because this is very generic, there is this idea of fine-tuning a model, right? So we want to take that model and have a subset of it. It's like a copy of it, right? And this is, let's say, call this fine-tuned model. And this fine-tuned model in here, what it's basically doing is that you're adding your own data and modifying this exists. So basically, it's basically the intersection here. So this is own data, and this own data is going through the same algorithm to produce another copy that's also based on this one. So it's basically you're getting this fine-tuned model at the intersection here, right? Hey, Bandari, long time. So, okay, so this is basically your fine-tuned model. It still relies on this guy, so it's basically a copy of this guy, but it's going through the same process to basically produce something that's more specific to your need. So you want a fine-tuned model for, let's say, some people went and trained a model for healthcare, for therapy, for mechanical engineering, whatever the case may be. You get to train it this way. In order for that to happen, now you see two parts in here. There is this own data piece, and we need to do the training. So how does this work in the OpenAI world? We need a file, and this file will have all, that's what Brian Parker was basically really, really putting a lot of time and effort in. This file here is your data. We need to send that data to OpenAI. So we basically go and say, here's the file. Take that file, OpenAI. So here's a file. And this file goes to OpenAI API endpoint. When that file is sent over there, OpenAI basically gives us back, a result. Let's take this back here. This is our result. So this is file response. And this file response have important things that we need, like a file ID and all that. What are we going to do with this ID? We take this ID and we basically submit another request. It's called fine-tuning request. So this fine-tuning request must have that file ID in it. And that's how you're storing that file. You're basically storing that file over there on OpenAI endpoint. And you're basically coming back and saying, okay, now that I have this, I want to basically start fine tuning this. And you get to choose which model you want to work with. Because again, you're going to have to walk it through a particular model. Which model are you trying to fine tune, right? In fact, actually, I think fine tuning is misleading in terms of a name because you're taking a copy of an existing model and you're adding stuff on it. So you're changing some stuff on it. So it's like taking a copy and enhancing that copy. I would say a model copy enhancement or something like that. But fine tuning could be a little bit confusing if you're not familiar with that industry and the terminology that's happening in there. At least just my 2 cents. This piece here is done. That's what we were celebrating last week. We were basically saying, hey, we were able to upload a file, get back the response from that file. Fantastic. We have this. We got it, right? The next step here is to basically go and say, okay, now that I have this file ID, I need to submit a fine-tuning request that takes care of that piece. How do we do that? Let's check it out. So let's go back here. Let's go to Playground, Documentation, and Fine-Tuning. Here we go. Oh, I need the API stuff. There you go. So this is fine-tuning right here. So check this out. In the fine-tuning piece, the request body is huge. Look at this. It's massive. But I can guarantee you that somewhere here there is the file ID, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Training files. There you go. Is this the file right here? And you can submit multiple files if you want to. But this ID here, that's the important part. That's the one that we care about, right? We have a question here. How fine-tuning is different from embeddings? I don't know. I haven't explored embeddings yet. So we're gonna have to check into it. Okay. So Brian, I don't know if this here is so in the request, this is the oh, this is the response. Never mind. There you go. This is the request right here. So just training file, and you're basically putting in the file ID. That's it. That's all there it is. That's crazy. That's really, really simple, right? So you're basically just taking the ID that's coming back from submitting a file, I'm assuming, and you're taking that file back and you're just sending it for fine tuning. And I'm assuming that there's a status in here. There it is. This status here needs checking. Like the more and more we get back to it. So we need to basically, sometimes it gets canceled and you can send a request to cancel a fine tune. We'll get into it at some point. There you go. You basically do a post, which is weird. It should be a put because you're modifying, but that's just me, and you basically put in the file ID in here and you say cancel this fine tuning request because it doesn't happen right away. Of course, it puts in the data in there and you need to process it.
That was my question. My next question was going to be: you got any idea how long these take? I guess for some of them it could take a long time.
Yeah, the last time I tried was just like eight records. I had to go away for like an hour, maybe hour and a
Mm-hmm.
half.
Yep.
So it really depends. I'm guessing which tier you're in. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have a dedicated server? Do you get queued and kind
Yep.
of pushed behind? I don't know. I don't know. Since Bandari asked embeddings, get a vector representation of a given input that can be easily consumed by machine learning models. I don't know. You're gonna have to learn it. I don't know what it does. So okay, so for the time being, let's start with this. So let me open up the project here. So this is OpenAI. See, this is how I know how often I visit a project. When I open up Visual Studio and I see where in the stack it is. It's been a while, I guess. So I was playing a manager making PowerPoint slides instead of actually doing some work. Well, that's embarrassing. Let's go back here. Oh, I was actually over the weekend because by the way, just moving onwards and Kylo, I don't know if you saw the video. We're gonna verify all our commits. So if you haven't seen the video, go to my YouTube channel, videos, get
Who,
verified on Twitter.
who gave you that idea to do that?
Oh. Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great idea, I think. I think the fact that it's something that have been on my mind for a while, but this is the fun part about having friends that do the same stuff that you do. You get to you get to do these cool things together, right?
Mhm.
Okay, people. So on the AI files, so this is the last thing. We upload a file, we get a file response. So that flow will basically tell us here's a file ID that you can take. Integration test for this is going to be quite fascinating and interesting. I guess we're going to have to call two endpoints to just kind of get an integration test up and running. I don't know if anyone actually took advantage or actually built the files. Oh, someone did already, didn't it? Oh yeah, Brian, you did that one. We still are missing one where so this is creating the stream. We're missing one where it's actually reading a file.
Mhm.
I might take a look at that when if time allows. Okay, let's do the brokers then. So here's users, Hassan, Habib, brokers, fine tune, post. Okay, let's do this. So on the broker side, I need a fine tune interface. And this guy just takes a file ID. So there is no real request model, I'm thinking. So you're passing in a file ID and just getting a response, right? Okay, let's do this. So Brian, are you saying something? Open AI broker dot fine tunes
I was
dot
just saying it's a string in and model out.
yep, string
Yeah,
in, model out, super
yeah,
primitive,
yeah.
internal partial interface. There you go. So that's that guy. And value task, fine tune request, fine tune response, fine tune model, fine tune response, and then submit post fine tune async string file ID. Right? So now we need a model, right? So I will say external file tune response so we stay consistent with our models here. And then on the models area under services foundations, because that's the nearest. So this is fine tunes. And then, well, I'm going to call this external external fine tunes. And I'm going to go and create external fine tune response. There you go. So that's a file tune response. And that response is very interesting. So now we need to, just for the folks for the folks that are not familiar with this trick yet, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go into the response that's coming from OpenAI, this little response here. Can I copy that guy? There you go. And then I'm basically gonna paste it as C sharp, right? The beautiful part about this is that Visual Studio does this for you outside of the box. So if you go here and you do edit, paste, paste special, and then paste JSON as classes like this, it will write it for me in C sharp classes. But it's gonna take a little bit of work. It's not that straightforward, right? Because obviously it's putting in the IDs here the way they are, right? And we need to kind of fix this to match C sharp kind of coding standards, right? And obviously there's a lot of content in there, so we need to kind of think about this. Now, the real question is here, does it actually respond with that? Just because the documentation say that, it doesn't mean that it's true. right? We don't know that, right? So what I want to do, I'm gonna kind of try to, let's see here. Let me try to run that and see if that actually works. I think Brian,
We could hit Postman and do the same thing with with the response.
yeah, and let me increase the screen size. I don't think people can see anything here. Let's see here. Show options, display settings,
Do you need keys or anything?
one fit, huh?
Do you need do you need some keys?
Oh, do I need some keys? Brian is my keys dealer. You need you need some keys, young kid. You need some keys, young blood. All right, let me get let me get the keys.
Fresh keys for sale.
Fresh keys, fresh keys. Okay, let's see here. So this is just a dummy key, and let's go into authorization. This is an API key. I think it was a bearer token. That's right. And here's an API key like this. And let's see here. Header body. I need the endpoint. So on the API reference, I'm gonna go and get fine tune endpoint. And it's HTTPS. It's a post. So we gotta put that in here and put a post, right? But then the body itself doesn't have. No, it does need a body, right? Except that the body just has a training file ID. So there is a request. Cool. I'm totally fine with that. So here we go, and then we need the training file. So that's my training file. And that training file is basically, so because I don't want to upload another file, really don't feel like it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna duplicate this tab. I'm gonna do a get, and I'm gonna say v1/files, and maybe it'll give me all the files that I already have in the system. What do you guys think about that? Invalid request. You provided a body with get. No body. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna give you a body. Okay, none. There you go. There you go. Here's a bunch of files that I already have in place, right? So it doesn't matter really. I just want to pick one of them, right? And see how the file themselves, they have a status. It says processed, all that stuff. Whoever is building the get all files should take care of that piece for us. And if they don't, we'll just go do it ourselves. That's not a problem. So if I do post like this, does it actually give me back anything? Oh yeah, it does. Look at that. Now here's the question for you, Brian. Why did it choose the model here for me? Because we posted the file under a model? What's the unless there is an existing processing? Oh, this might be I don't know, honestly.
No, I'd be guessing.
But this also looks not does it look similar to the let me copy that guy here and let's just compare notes because what the API actually responds with here's the thing. Software engineers, the last thing they think about or want to do is do documentation, right? So if you're wondering why Hassan is doing this, class delete me, is because unless you try it yourself and you see the response, don't believe don't believe your eyes. So paste as classes. So what's the difference here? Let's see. So you have the root object, ID, whatever. Okay, let me uh, let's see. So that's
Split your screen.
yeah, I'm thinking that, but would it let me open the same file twice though? It won't let me, would it?
Mhm.
We just found the use case for opening the same file twice. But that's okay because I want to take that guy here. I'm gonna put it down here. I know there's like a diff tool that's so cool. Let's just start from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have at least the same thing. model, hyperstreams, hyperparameters, fine-tuned model. Do you see that anywhere? There you go. Fine-tuned model. Yeah, so this one is truthful, I guess. We'll believe it. What do you think, Brian? We'll believe it. We'll believe it.
It looks pretty good in that first one.
On that first one, we'll see, right? And then these hyperparameters, n epochs, batch size, prompt loss weight, learning rate multiplier. Let's see what the hyperparams in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, npox, prompt loss weight, learning rate multiplier. Okay, so this one is good as well. Now the next one is event. Event here, object level message created at object created at level message, good. And then training files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah, why the training files are different? So the documentation, the
Good.
documentation is giving you these while the actual data, see, don't trust anyone in this industry, really. This one here is giving me a lot more than that. It's giving me bytes, it's giving me file name, purpose, all that good stuff. And I think these are all the nested models. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw away the documentation model because it means nothing. It's what the API is actually giving you back, and everything else should stay the same.
It's a bit like comments in code.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So this is external fine-tune response. And we did say the object is what? It's the identifier. What did we do with other models like external chat completions?
It's the object describes the class itself, I believe.
We just said object. That's all we did. I thought we
Mm.
said type or something crazy like that.
Mm.
Um, I think also in
I think it is type.
it is the type, right?
Yeah.
Why did we say object here is not? Unless we, you know what I think we did? I think we basically went into the chat completion response and no, we just said type as well. Why did we do that? That's dumb. Someone did external AI file with lowercase I. Ah! Oh!
Yeah.
Response object. AI files. Let's see here. AI file response type. That's what we should be calling it. So I guess that's just a code rub for someone to kind of take a look at. Okay then. Cool. Cool, cool. Let's do that. So let's take those from the top. I need all the public things.
You need the JSON properties as well.
Right. So all the public things here. And then here is your, oh, of course you did, don't you? Let's start from the get then. Okay, there you go. And then these are all the properties. Cool. And then we need a new line for all, right? So home, new line each, and then we want the JSON property. And each one of these will have that little guy in here, right? So that basically gives us that. And then for each one of these, we need a new line after, right? So I want all these guys, Control Alt Shift. Let's see here. So this is like this. There you go. So that's much cleaner. So that's external file fine-tune response. Now we need to fix these things, right? Because now we can actually go and say object like that and say ID and all that good stuff. Let's just do that. I guess this session is not really services. It's the data
Yeah.
itself. So this is okay, and that's okay. That's fine. Organization ID.
So in that first one where you got the underbar object, just get rid of the underbar.
Get rid of the underbar?
Mm-hmm. It's
You mean do
just
things easily instead of just making my own life miserable? But
no,
I want to see,
no, in the JSON property name and the very first one, the top one.
this.
Yeah, get rid of
It
that.
is. It is in the JSON response though.
I know, but it's JSON's way of saying, sort of dealing with the conflict of names, like object.
Ah, no, yeah, that's right. That's right. I think someone else did that, and we should probably. I
Check
think
all their
some.
other mod. Yeah.
Yeah, I think someone else did that somewhere, Brian. I just saw it like a second ago, but I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know where. There it is
Yep.
in the response. But it works for some reason, and that's
No,
okay.
I'll nearly bet that's not getting populated, and we haven't noticed it.
Oh, you don't think so? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is it safe to say that every underscore, well, it's gonna catch the underscores that I don't want it to catch. That's the problem. So I have to do this by hand. Fine. I mean, validation files and then result files and then created date, updated date. Interesting. See where it makes sense, they will add this updated date and then status. That's super important. And we're gonna need to think about mapping this fine-tuned model and then events. Cool. So that takes care of this one model here. Let's jump on to the next. What's a better name for this N epochs, Brian? Do you know?
I think I gave it a better name in that very first one we did, didn't we? Um, in the
You probably did. Can you
let me have.
take a look for me, please? JSON property. There you go. And we have these. This will be batch size, prompt loss weight, prompt loss weight, and then learning rate multiplier. Okay, learning rate multiplier. We don't. If you don't know what this is, don't feel bad. We don't know either. We're just building a wrapper around an API, and then later on we're gonna have to play with these values and really appreciate the fact that we actually took the time to do it. It's okay, Brian. Tell me, whenever you
Yep.
have time.
I'm looking. I can't find it. It wasn't actually one of the ones we did before. So
So
I'm just.
what does the description say though? Let's see. Npox, n epochs, which is n underscore epochs. The number of epochs to train the model for. An epoch refers to one full cycle. Okay, number of epochs then. Number of epochs. Or epochs count. How about that?
Yep.
Right? And then let's do the next one because we're gonna need to put each one of these in their own file. Right? So here we go, and give me that copy. Let's get to the bottom, and then let's do JSON property. There you go. And here's your object, and then let's see here, like this maybe, and then take that guy out. There you go. So that will be object. Like you said, we don't need that underscore, and then here's an ID, purpose, file name. I think this is just a nested model of a file, really, but I'm not 100% positive, so I don't know. Created date, status, and then status details. And it's really an object, but we really don't know. Like in the response itself, status details is coming in as null. So we need one where the status details is not null. So we know what this status detail actually is because we don't know what it is. right? So I'll try to kind of post message error file purpose does not match. Ooh, so that's a bad file. Just trying with different files that we fine-tuned before, just to see if there is a place where it actually tells us, what this status details is. And God forbid the documentation will actually give us that information. Highly doubt it. So here we are. Okay, status details, and then this is done, and then again object. So let's take these guys here. Ba, ba, ba. Click. There you go. JSON property like this, and then like that. And this is again created date. This is a message. This is a level. And this is an object. Okay, I think that's all of them in here. Although that request also needs to have, but okay, let me just create those first. So this stays here, but the rest of those go away. So I will call this external hyperparams. All of them will get an external name, so we know that this is external. So it's external hyperparams, external training files, and external event. They'd actually call it training files. Why did it call it training files? It's an array, right? So this is external event. Yeah, it should be external training file. I'm actually surprised Visual Studio kind of screwed up in this one because this is just one file. So why did it call it files? I don't know. It's buggy. Has a bug in it. Okay, let's do this. So external training file, and this guy goes away from.
If you just click on the name of the class and hit Control and dot, it'll move it for you.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Move.
What is happening? It's trying to do something too smart. Well, I don't want that view. Why does it keep
Yeah,
showing me this?
this was doing this to me the other day. So you move type to external event CS. Yep.
You gotta be kidding me. Are you
No,
serious? Oh my God, Parker. Why didn't you tell me?
I did.
I just did. I did. I just did, dude. And I really hate the little thing that's popping in my face here. That's two teams doing work, overriding each
It
other.
doesn't do it as badly if you zoom. It's because you zoomed in.
Oh,
I found.
really?
Yeah,
Uh,
I was having the same issue myself the other night.
okay, cool. I love this. Fantastic. This should be external hyperparams. There you go. I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, so that's all of this, and let's clean this guy. We also take away this guy. So this is fine-tune response. That's the model here. And why this guy complaining? External event. Oh, it's sitting inside another. Oh, did it move them all inside of a delete me
Well,
class? That's.
that's how you had them defined when you moved them.
Oh my God, Brian. Are you saying like Visual Studio can't just read my mind? Just a privilege. Just you can never make engineers happy. They'll always find something to complain about. Okay, so external event. So that's external events. That should take care of that. Um, now I need the response, right? So this is, sorry, external fine-tune request. And that guy just has a file name in it. So this is prop, or file ID rather, right? It's a string, and that's your file ID. Control KE, that's it. So the one thing that's really concerning me that we have no idea what it does. Yet you gotta have to be careful with these things that says object. I don't know what that is. Is
Newton
this, uh,
Newtonsoft doesn't even know how to map it. So what?
it doesn't know how to map. It's not that. It's that we don't know what it actually entails,
Mhm.
right? So the only way for us, God forbid, the documentation actually tells us what's happening. If you go on to, like, look in here, it's basically saying, so training files, we know these, and that's it. It basically omitted these values from here. So you're not going to find it in the documentation. Will we find it in Postman? Maybe? I don't know. So this is training files, but if you look at validation files and result files, it's just empty. At least we know what the event looked like. That's a good thing, right? But we also don't know what we don't know what status details mean. Is this why they omitted it from the
Mm.
actual model? Like, is this why they basically went and said, ah, let's not document it. We don't know what this thing is. I don't know.
Is it
So
some? Is it something that's sunset and they just haven't pulled it out?
if only there was a mechanism where we can version things. See status detail null. And interestingly enough, these are the difference. The, 9 from 6 to 9. Um, I don't know
Mm.
what to do about these. I don't know how to map them, right? The only way for us to go do this is to basically say, here, fine. Let's ask the system about the system. How about that? So chat GPT, it should know its own responses, I hope. If it doesn't, I don't know what to do then with myself, right? What is the full response of a fine-tune request for OpenAI RESTful API? Oh boy, that's even worse because that doesn't have. This is probably the old model, right? Is this the latest model? Nope, that's as of September 2021. So who do
Mm.
we ask? Do we ask Bard? Let's go ask Bard then. Maybe Bard will know. Hi, Bard. What is the full JSON response from OpenAI API, RESTful API for fine-tuning models? Help a brother out. Come on. I heard that Bard talks to OpenAI underneath, so I don't know. Oh boy, it's giving me something completely different. Status running, training operation, um, validation loss. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. Okay, we're gonna play prompt engineers here for a second. Um,
I
I
was
got.
thinking maybe Bing, because Bing's ChatGPT 4 now, isn't it?
I think Bing will do it.
Not sure. Have you used Bing?
Have I used Bing?
The
I
the
don't.
the, the Bing version of OpenAI. I mean, I know, not I'm not meaning. So Bing.com, yeah. Then don't click on that. Yes.
Oh, you mean this one that I
Yeah.
signed up for before anyone else got it? Yeah, that one.
You know anything
Hmm.
about this one?
Uh, can you can you give me the full response from OpenAI RESTful API endpoint for fine-tuning model in JSON? gonna say no. I'm sorry,
Mm.
I'm not able to provide for as well that it is. However, I can help find information about how to loser. Bing Chat GPT is a big annoyance. I try to avoid it now because it's just way too much.
Hmm.
Consider the following response in JSON. Can you identify what the model is for the following properties, which is validation files? Oh boy, what happened? Oh, considering the following API response from OpenAI endpoint, can you identify sample data for the validation?
You did it again. One of those days, Hassan.
It throws away all my stuff. I I hate I hate Bing. I hate Bing Chat GPT. It's dumb and it
Mhm.
doesn't work. Okay? So anyway,
I tried.
consider the following response from Chat GPT OpenAI RESTful API. Stupid.
This is why I sometimes prepare these questions in
What
WordPad. In WordPad and paste them in.
what are the possible sample values for validation files property?
I was going to just.
It's probably not gonna give us anything. No shit. It's an array of files. Ooh, okay. Did it just copy the I think it just copied the files, the file model. Let's test it. What would the status details data look like? Is that it? Code message? That's it? I don't know if I believe it though. That's the problem.
The question is, where did it get it from?
Where did you get that information from? That's a great question, actually, Brian. I'm looking for the source. Usually it should put a source in there,
Hmm.
but it didn't put nothing. So, there you go. That's that's the worst. You know what this is like? This is the equivalent of trust me, bro. When
Yes.
someone is I'm a large language model, bro.
Mhm.
I don't believe you. I do my best to base my response on reputable sources. There is no sources.
Mhm.
There's no sources, dude. You didn't bring me any sources.
Mhm.
So I guess we're stuck with the old school way of trial and error to basically go and say, give me a bunch of files, give me a bunch of values in here, and take the value. Let's see here. Take this value, put it in here, and hope to God that we will get a response. I don't know. Any other ideas, Brian, to get that information? I'm
Put
I'm
it out.
open to ideas.
We're coming up to the hour. We could put it out for the community for 24 hours.
Okay, I'm putting it out for the community
Just
because
a thought. because we are
Yep,
a bit stalemate on it.
yep. Result files, validation files, and the status details. We don't know what these are supposed to be, right? In order for us to complete our task, we really need to figure out what these responses are, right? Because without these, we have absolutely no idea, right? And while that's the case, I think external request, okay. So I can go ahead and put this on hold. External fine-tune response. And this guy will take external fine-tune request. There you go.
Which is just a string, basically, a wrap
Yeah,
up for a string. Yeah.
it's just a yeah, it's just a file name. I don't know if I named it right. Yeah, this should be JSON property. I think it's file ID. I think it's like that. Let me double check also just to make sure that things work the way they're supposed to. And what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna try to um oh, it's called training file. It's called training file. There you
If
go.
people if people do some experiments and can they if they can capture the results for us and
Yep. So while they say training file, it's actually a file ID. It's the file ID that comes back. So if you go into, let's see here, if you go into AI external files, external AI file request, what do we get in the response? We get an ID. That's
hmm
the ID. So it's just a mess, right? There's no consistency,
yeah.
right?
Once it becomes an ID, then it becomes the file.
Yeah.
And
Catalan
that's not.
says, have we checked if these responses properties are set based on the request input? Have we checked if these responses properties are set? Oh, so basically, so Catalan is basically saying, have you, if I understand this, if I think I understand this, is that he's basically saying you pulled in these files and you see the status details on each one of them here is empty. Um, yeah, all the status details is null. Just null. We don't know, Catalan. We don't know. It's a mystery, right? Um, anyway, just going back to this real quick. This is the fine-tune API, and then the implementation of it would be OpenAI broker.finetunes.cs. And here's internal partial. Control KE, take away that edge, add in copyrights, and then we need to, this is my lazy way of doing this, control period, generate the implementation. Someone left some implementation in here. What is all that? Was that me? Did I just do that? Oh, it was me. Ah, okay. All right. There you go. So this is external fine-tune request, and then, well, since it spanned over this, so it's post async, and then we have the external fine-tune request, external fine-tune response, and then the URL, relative URL is v1 slash fine tunes. Isn't that what I just did? Fine tunes, yeah, fine dash tunes. And then also you need the actual content, which is the external fine tune request, like that. So that's the implementation. Now, Brian,
hmm
A little favor.
What's that? Again?
Again? Where does it end with this guy?
And there's no such thing as little with you.
All I just want from you is so this is brokers post fine tune um, capability. What I want to do is that I'm going to create this as a draft
Hmm.
request, but what I want from you is just try to run that method and confirm that it's actually mapping proper
Yep.
because we can't test at this point. So this is I'm going to put this on draft. Okay, go for it. It's all you now.
Gosh, even
Uh,
now I thought it was going to be homework.
Catalan says, for example, I see that the request has a validation file property. Then maybe in that case, the validation files will be popular. Oh, does the request has a validation file property? Where did you see that? Is that in the documentation? Catalan, where is that? Okay, Parker, you probably need to increase
Yeah.
the res. You're showing off your high res. Is that what you're doing here?
No, no, no. What was the name of the branch you had? Sorry, I'll just grab the branch before I can do that.
Oh, so yeah, Catalan is saying it's in the docs. Okay, Brian, while you're testing that, I'm looking that up. That actually might be a very good point. Catalan.
What was the name of the branch?
Oh, it's brokers dash fine tunes. Just search fine tunes. It should be there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm taking your screen here for a sec. Ah, playground documentation. So, so the brother might be actually fine tunes. Oh, request body. Oh, you're not kidding. So, oh, there is a valid. Oh, this request body is nothing. There's more to it. So there is validation file, there is model, there's batch size, learning rate multiplier, prompt loss weight, compute classification metrics, classification in classes. Oh, all of this is the request body. Well, how come they didn't document the response though? That's even more interesting. But yeah, oh dude, there's a lot more than this little. Catalin, thank you for bringing that up. That's very interesting. Um, it's saying the only required is the file name, but yeah, validation the ID of an uploaded file that contains validation data. Yeah, this guy's right. This guy is absolutely right. That's it. So it's basically a file. It's basically pretty much that data. So I guess Bing was okay. I think Bing was truthful, telling the truth, I think, to some extent. But then what about the status details? That's the one that we can't find. Thank you for this, Carolyn. That's a very insightful piece of information. All right, let's see if Parker can make this work, and then we'll let Kailu kind of put the rest of the properties. Actually, Kailu, you can put the rest of these properties now if you want.
I
Well,
haven't I haven't worked out where to do this yet. Where do you want me in the acceptance test? Maybe.
anywhere you want, as long as maybe integration either. Noel, you don't have access there. Acceptance test is fine. You're gonna need to pass. You're gonna need to instantiate a
Mm.
an OpenAI client. You've already done it before.
Yeah, I know.
Kailu, do you know what needs to happen from your side?
What properties do I need to add?
So pull the branch that Brian is working on. He's not going to change anything, so there will be no conflict.
Yeah, I won't be pushing this. No.
But what you need to do is to update the external fine-tune request to have the rest of the properties according to the documentation in OpenAI. Do you want the link?
I should be able to find.
Okay.
Where do we set this?
Yeah, in this case here, you can delete all of that. We don't really care about none of that. We
No.
just we just want an open AI client with some configurations in it, and then you're basically calling the broker directly.
Hmm.
Just copy it from the integration test, brother. Just copy it from there. The integration, Brian.
Oh, yes, sorry.
This one is fine too. Take this one. I'm okay with that. I'm sorry.
Th-
Go ahead. Take it from here. That's fine too.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, the OpenAI client one. Yeah.
Now I've lost.
And I don't even think we need the OpenAI client. We just need the configuration so we can inject it into the broker.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Carolyn says the status can be one of, yeah, that's the status. We know that, but there's status details. And that's the one we don't know what this model looks like, right? The status, yeah, I'm with you on this one. Totally true. But the status details though. And we don't care about the URL, so just pass in the key. Give it away to the public. If I should call this series, it's the series of the crazy folks that give their API keys to the world.
Don't look, everyone.
Nobody looks. Okay.
Yeah.
Just type fine tune. Yep. And then a new external fine tune request. There you go.
Got a few. You got a number there for me, mate? Oh, it's gonna have to be
Oh, the file
mine.
ID? I'll send you one. Hold on. Well,
No.
it has to be one that's under your account.
I don't know if I got any up there. If I do,
Just
I don't know.
oh yes, you do. You've been uploading stuff. How do you think you tested your
Yeah, I
file
know.
IDs?
I just can't remember any of the numbers.
That's okay. So just open up Postman and just do a get all files. It's really straightforward. Actually, screw that. Don't open up Postman. Just type in broker dot. Oh, we don't have get all files yet, do we? I don't know if
Yeah. Do
someone implemented it.
you want to
I
just
think
give me
some.
one?
I think
Do you want
someone
to
did.
sacrifice one of your keys and give me an ID that you've got?
Yeah. Here's the key. Where's the private chat? There you go. So here is key. Oh, I did copy a lot of stuff. Just a sec. I think that's the key, Ryan. Does it start with SK? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's a file ID for you.
Awesome.
Go to town. Are you putting my key out there in public, Brian? Is that what?
Yeah, that's why you sent it to me in private chat for it, wasn't
Okay, yeah, let's run it. Let's put that just a breakpoint somewhere or something. You have an extra. Okay. We just want to make sure our mapping is correct. So
Mm-hmm.
when we tell people, hey, the broker is done, it's actually done.
Where is it? Why didn't I hit it?
Did it blow up? What is this error message that you have?
Yeah.
I don't think this is real, is it?
No,
What?
missing a using.
That doesn't sound right.
Why?
You shouldn't have this problem.
No. I
Damn.
pulled I pulled latest and I pulled this branch.
On my side, I always double, triple check that things are building. Nope. Actually, Brian, I gave you a bad commit. I'm sorry.
Gee,
Yeah,
wow.
yep, I gave you a bad commit. I guess my file cleanup did something stupid. I don't know what it
Mm,
did, but it did
it hap-
something really dumb.
it hap-
Uh, just a moment here. OpenAI broker, implement interface. So what interface? Oh, someone created get all files and didn't implement it? So AI files, great. Someone pushed in there get all files and they left it hanging as an interface. Oh, I see what happened. They put it as an empty implementation. Okay, okay. How did this thing build then? That's interesting. Okay, here. Code add missing empty implementations. All right, pull again, Brian. That was my fault. I'm sorry. Pull now.
we build.
Do you need to stash?
Yeah, probably needed.
Yeah, just drop down that guy. Say stash. Yep. Pull latest. There you go. That should build. Gee, I thought I did hit build before. Someone a while ago, a long time ago, made it like a pre-commit step. Like every time you do commit push, before it does a push, it checks for credentials and runs a build for you.
So what do I do here? Pop? I can't remember.
Yep,
Pop
yep, yep,
to the
yep,
bottom one?
yep, yep, and you should be able to run now. hmm No, you're gonna have to do it from here. Yeah, that's right. Kylo, you're gonna have to update from your side because I pushed changes to that branch, but it shouldn't change anything. You shouldn't have any conflicts.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. What's your response look like, Parker?
Looks pretty good.
Why the fine-tuned model is null? What does it match? So go inside the right-click on the method itself and see what this fine-tuned model really matches.
Sorry.
Go inside that method,
F12.
and then go inside the response. So what does fine-tuned model? Keep scrolling. There's a piece there that says fine-tuned model somewhere. Aha. Fine-tuned model. Is this coming to me as null also on the API? Yeah, it is coming as null. So yeah, this is a good result. The one
Mm-hmm.
thing I ask of you is we probably need these hyperparams. The P needs to be uppercase. Or is hyperparams I think it's okay. So your task here is done, sir. You're
Mm-hmm.
good. Yeah. You don't need to do anything further. Kylie, do you want to share your screen so you can look at the model that you have? Okay. Thank you, Parker. Good stuff. All right, here's Kailu. Ah,
We're
he's
in a
not
hall of
doing
mirrors.
nice. Almost there. Cool. So what do we have here? Validation files. Yeah. Yeah. Prompt loss weight.
Just makes me feel bad when I hear that.
You see, a lot of these things are, we really need to understand what they really mean, right? Like prompt loss weight, learning rate multiplier. I know they have details for it, but we need to actually write examples that show why these things are important. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Otherwise, would be just like a bunch of people building a tool that don't know how to use it. We're just building a tool. We don't know what this tool does, right? So, actually, Brian, don't delete the code that you just wrote. Not just
Really?
yet. Did you actually delete it?
No, I've got it still.
Yeah, so wait, because after Kailu's done with this, we should be able to test again just to make sure that his mapping, even for these null values, you know what I mean? You know
Yep.
where I'm going with this? Okay, cool.
You don't want me to pop that again?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dang, it's a long list. Look at all these things.
Goes on and on and on.
Yeah, yeah. Full control, right? It's not a bad thing. We just need to understand it. We need to understand what it means. I mean, I'm pretty sure someone will be able to leverage the library to kind of adjust these values to match what they're looking for. I'm hoping so, but Brian, did I tell you that we're ranking that we entered the first page on nogit.org?
Did we? I
Oh
think we've
yeah.
been. I think we've been bouncing backwards and forwards. Sometimes
Well,
I'm.
it's a
Yeah.
heavy competition, right?
Mm.
I mean, Microsoft just released, like while Kailu's doing this, I'll share my screen. Microsoft just released another library called Microsoft Semantic Kernel Connectors AI.OpenAI, whatever that is, right?
Mm. That's a name for you.
And that's what shook our stuff a little bit, right? But we're fighting hard. Like we're going up to 1,300 downloads here,
Hmm.
right? And the more and more systems kind of integrate with us, we'll be going up that chain. The other day we were third from the bottom. We were over here.
Hmm.
Mhm. Diogo says, Hassan Habib, in your first commit, you deleted the get all files async implementation. Oh, I did, didn't I? Yikes. Was it actually implemented, Diogo? Hold on, let me go see. I probably actually did. He's probably right. Um,
It's probably Diogo's work, and he's feeling very hurt.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Why did I do that? That's so stupid. Look what I just did. Watch this. Yeah, it's probably his stuff. Look what I just did. What kind of jerk would take away a solid implementation and puts in an empty one? It's been a long day. I'm sorry, Diogo. Let me put that back and take full credit for it.
You cherry picked that well.
Diogo's like, you got me worried for a minute here. I was like, what happened? Why did he delete? I think we can use the file's relative URL in here. And since it is in part or in full, okay, yeah, this is good. Control K. Oh, I'm so sorry. So, code drop. Sorry, Diogo. Putting get all files back. Crazy. Crazy. Okay, Kylo, you might need to pull again, although it still doesn't change anything on your side. So this is CRUD, post, get, CRUD, create, retrieve, delete. Yeah, that should be okay. Cool. There's no limit to the amount of stupid things one could do when they're just kind of, chillaxing, you know? Hey Brian, check out this mouse. It's pretty cool.
Mm.
It's like a handshake kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been trying it. If you like, I'll send you one. So you hold it like this. Look.
Really? What's it like to game with?
I've been playing Iron Harvest with it. I played a lot of Dawn of War with it. I think it's good. There's even an extension to it, so you can make it even bigger. There's like an extension. I don't know, so you don't get carpal tunnel or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
See? Guess how much this thing is?
Oh,
$30. Not even.
really?
I
Really?
swear to God. I thought $100 or something. Nope, $30. That's all that it is.
Nice.
Looks pretty cool. I've been trying it. Originally, I'm using this instead,
Yep.
but I've been trying it. I'm quite pleased with it, and I like the fancy lights and everything else in between. So I'll let you know. I've been using it for almost like 3 days. I
Yep.
think it's okay.
What brand? Sorry. Did I
Deluxe.
Del- never heard of them?
Deluxe. I never heard of him. Never
Mhm.
heard of him either. I was just kind of, what, a crazy person would do, right? Oh, what should I buy today, right? And I saw, let me show it to people here. So Deluxe mouse. Yeah, that guy right here. So, how do I do this? There. There you go. It's actually pretty neat. I
Mhm.
I like it. It looks small, but it's not. See, do you see that extension down there? Do you see?
Mhm.
That's the extension that I was telling you about. My hand don't feel exhausted, but almost 20 something years doing this, it's
Mhm.
weird. It feels weird. You know what I mean? Like you're used to doing things this way, and now you're doing it that way. I have to say though, most of my time at John Deere, I was having a mouse that's a little bit similar to this. I think it's pretty neat. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah. Look, $27. Why is it so cheap? Is it because of the competition? I don't know. Why is this one $39? I don't know. See? I know there's also a lot of competitors in this market. Like, oh man, this looks like it does look like the mouse is hugging your hand. Like
Mhm.
it's really, really nice, right? I do think they could do better with the wheel in the middle, but it's not bad at all. Look at the reviews, Brian. 4.2. People love it.
I kind of like that it turns your wrist so your tendons aren't dragging on your desk. So that's how you get carpal tunnel.
Yep, that's the whole point of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty neat one in there.
When I was young, I used to get a lot of carpal tunnel until I learned the trick, which was to get your elbows level with your desktop.
I try to do that, but then if I do that, my head will be over the camera. I think I also like my chairs to be really low. Like
Mhm.
no matter how high the desk is, the chair needs to be right at the bottom. Anyway, I think it's a great product. They have not paid me for a promotion or anything. I'm just talking about really nice things. So this is a nice thing.
We should get promoted. So
We should get sponsors.
Sponsors, start getting gear.
Some, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn the other day. They said to me, "Hey, we want you to talk about this low code, no code thing." I said I will do it, but you're gonna have to pay $5,000 to some charity of my choice, and only if I think that your product is useful. So
Mhm.
if I think your product is crap, I'm not gonna talk about it, you know. And they they were like, what would your video promotion entail? I said, however length I choose it to be, even if it's like 1 minute, it's gonna be the most expensive 1 minute I've ever made in my life, a $5,000 minute.
Mhm.
But I also think that uh, I should be able to choose when and how, because I don't do any promotions on my channel. I mean, look
Nope.
at us, there's no, I mean, for God's sake, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I mean, who would want to advertise things? I mean, I'm doing a session with Sync Fusion, but this is just a free thing where I talk to people about
Dude,
architecture.
we only wear plain shirts. Come on.
Nothing. You know what this tells you? I have no sponsors. I'm self-sponsored. Hello, person. I can't read their name. How are you doing? I'm sorry. I really can't. Elbic would know how to read this name. I just can't. Can you type your name in English so I can say it out loud if you'd like me to? Yeah, we only sponsor good work here. I don't care about
Mhm.
whatever product. If I see something that makes sense and is useful, I'll talk about it. You know what I thought about the other day? Actually, should I hold off on this? Anyway, I have a session tomorrow with Sam Chu. So we'll see if we can push OData a little bit further. He was yelling at me today. He was like, "Why are you all with OpenAI? What about me?" I was like, "Okay, 4 p.m. tomorrow, Pacific Standard. Let's do it." Okay, Kay, is that the end of the tunnel? Did you get the whole model in?
I hope so.
I like how they say batch size integer and then learning rate multiplier number. Whatever that number is. It's a number. And this one is an array of what? If this is provided, we calculate if beta scores at the specified beta values. The if beta score is a generalization of F1 score. No idea what this is. It says it's an array. Your worst case scenario is to make it an array of objects. Okay. So what did you make it to?
Mhm.
Yeah, good. Okay. Push this. Okay, Parker, pull that code back again. Like shelf or stage, not shelf. Yeah, shelf your changes and try to run it again. We're looking at your screen now
Mhm.
and tell us what you have. Let's do it. So these, excuse me, DC Kailu's full model first. Like if you go into this model that has a file ID in it, you see the full model in there.
Sorry, which one?
Yeah, this model here though. Yeah, go inside that guy. Does it have Kailu's changes? Yeah, it does. Good. Let's go back and make a commit. Sorry, make a call, an API call, and see what happens.
So I can make a commit with this code? What?
Make an API commit. And then some smart pants is gonna pop out and be like, "Well, isn't your GitHub commits is also an API commit?" Just let them be. Mm. Okay. What's the response? It's working, isn't it?
Seems to be. Yep.
Okay, cool. We're done here. Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you, Brian. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this pull request. We still have an unknown on the status, but we added it as an object. So, Catalan, Diogo, whoever, if you want to look a little bit into this, it would be much appreciated. You're saving our butts in a big way. Okay, so post file tune, look at this nice verified stuff. I love it. I love it. That's Cristo for you right there.
Mm.
So Kailu, make sure you watch that video about, your commits being verified. Because moving onwards, I'm gonna enforce a rule that you can't push anything unless it's verified. Like unless your account is verified. It's like a 5 minute thing. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And just to make sure, just double checking here to make sure that we are in good shape. These are the data, the brokers, all the pieces that we need. The external trading file doesn't have copyrights on it. I'll fix that right now. But other than that, I think we're clean. Okay, let's go back to Visual Studio here. Studio. Let's go back to Visual Studio. Here we go. And then on the external model, external chat, external event, fine tune is good. Yeah, there it is. External file. There you go.
You guys having a bit of a heat wave over your way? I saw on the news.
Where in America?
Yeah, was that? I just
I don't
something.
care. I have an AC. I'm probably the only person in the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest that have AC. Kylo, did you add AC in your house? People don't
Yeah.
put ACs in here. Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you. So
Mm.
just Kylo and I then. Because people here don't put because the weather here is good usually. So they don't care, but we have some months in here where it gets hot, right?
Mhm.
Um so yeah, we're getting some hotness on our way. It's okay, it doesn't matter though. I have the air conditioner just freezing me to death. Okay, pull and push. Here we go. So going into the brokers again. So you gotta even review your own code sometimes because you want to make sure.
It's hard to review your own code.
It's very hard. It's like testing your own system. You're only gonna go down the paths that you programmed it for. That's it, my friends. I'll wait for this thing to finish building and running and all that. I appreciate your time today. The next step would be to do a foundation service, and
Mhm.
submit file tune and the drill, just moving onwards from there. It's just gonna keep going like that for a while until we get to the very last API. Some of them will be much easier than others. For people watching this, if you've never contributed to open source, you want to contribute to open source and do something that's AI related, reach out to people in the standard community or just look at the open issues. You should be able to pick up something and run with it really, really fast. We have about 40 something issues opened up, and there's still a lot of work to do, but this is a fun project after all. Um, Ryan, do you have anything to add here?
No, I'm pretty happy how we're all going. Um, we're sort of in the doldrums at the moment, but I'm pretty sure all this stuff sort of will get behind us very quickly. The pace we're going at the moment is just incredible. It's the amount of stuff that the community is doing it's awesome.
Believe it or not, this repository just by far have had 602 contributions,
Mm.
600 commits, and that includes everybody, and we have over 29 contributors. Like imagine a team of 29 engineers from all over the world kind of pushing through. We're hitting through the roof on the stars, 193 stars. We have more stars than some of the ones, that's out there because it is truly a community effort, but it's also standardized community effort.
And all these contributors, once they get their code through, what you're letting through is really good quality code, and
Yep,
everyone should be really proud.
they feel good about it. They feel proud of it, and their code gets in there, puts a
Mm.
stamp, their name on this contribution, so it's gonna stay there forever. And then I mean, honestly, like it's not even the OpenAI project itself, it's the fact that people get to learn the standard and get to work together and contribute to this. Super amazing, beyond amazing. Okay, friends, thank you all so very much. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.